Hi, welcome to Bookwood. I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. If you haven't met before, my name is Mashou and I create bookish and journal related content over here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going over my stats for my reading of the month of June. And I wanted to introduce that a little bit because I have been asking myself some questions in the other videos related to this month. June is the Amazing Readathon month. It is, I feel, the biggest readathon, and I have been participating for the third time this year. The first year I was very attracted to it by the race element and the visiting of the cities. I chose teen fantasy back then, and I just took a bunch of books under, I think, 400 pages from my library, from my wanting to read list, and I went as we go. And I thought at that point it was very stressful because I really wanted to keep up with it, and I struggled doing that. So I hesitated for the next year, but the magical worlds that we visit were very appealing to me, and I thought by myself, well, now I know how this is going to go. This will be planned better, it will go better. But again, it was quite frustrating. I did have fun though, don't get me wrong, but I also got a lot of stress, and maybe that's also linked to my autism, for example. It's difficult to say. Let me know in the comments if it is a readathon that also tends to stress you if you participate in it. And I remember hesitating a very long time about the non-competitive team last year, but I was afraid that I would miss out on all the fun. So I went for the competitive one. We had the prom, so I picked books, I picked shorter books, but the result was the same. And so I hesitated again for this year. And what made me want to participate again this year was the fact that we went down from 10 to 8 legs, thinking I would have some more time. And I must be honest, that indeed made a big difference for me. What also made a big difference was that I said to myself at the start, you are not going to do any sightseeing, and you are not going to participate in the Face of Weekend. You are not even going to envision that as a possibility, which also took away some of the pressure. And I did manage to finish all the books. I think every year I did manage to finish by the end, but it is the state in which I crossed this finish line. And this year it was in a way better place. I did had some legs where I got like a day behind or so, but overall it went pretty well. But when I was making up these stats, I had to conclude that it is one of my worst reading months. I read, we'll see it later, but I read 11 books, which still is a lot, but compared to the other months of the year, for me, this is like the lowest amount of books. And I went to think for myself about what happened, because keeping statistics is fun for doing it, but it for making spreads about, but it also has to have like a utility, otherwise why bother? And I realized, first of all, that there were very few audiobooks this month. I planned very few of them, but listening to L'Apprenti, which is a French only book that my husband highly recommended me. It's a series, and he told me the first one is going to be hard, and indeed the first one was hard, and I sometimes just didn't want to listen to it, and so I preferred listening to YouTube videos, even ones that I would never have listened to otherwise, just to avoid listening to that book. So which made me be behind, let's say, on audiobooking. I wanted to listen to further material, which I did, but which I finished in July, so that will be my next carousel vlog. But I could have listened to more and up my book amount. And it's not about upping the amount of books I read, but it is said that I have to say to myself, well, you listen to that book and you know that your husband keeps saying like the second will be better, but you lost like time. You could enjoy other fun books instead of dragging this one around, but then still it wasn't a book that I wanted to DNF. That's one of the things that happened. And then I had a strategy. Well, I read the book, I pick it up as soon as the prompt drops, and I let go of another book that I'm reading, and I'll pick that up back after that. And the idea was very good, but the idea didn't work out. So I did not read a lot of my other priority reads. I did start the Tale of the Last Flower Bride, or the Last Tale of the Flower Bride, which I'm highly enjoying and which I am like reading since halfway through the month or something like that. I am about to finish it normally, next carousel vlog also. And I noticed that one of the reasons this is not working is I also tend to mingle up the books too much between them. But then I read a few haunted houses this month. And yeah, so I feel that I might have made it through TAR, but I also feel that still the pressure of needing to read at a quite high pace to make sure that I finish took a little bit too much of me and made me maybe procrastinate reading a lot. So the conclusion I made for myself is I highly enjoyed this readathon, but next year I promise myself I will not go back to that. I will not receive it. How do you say that? It's not only because of the readathon, because I think it's a very fun readathon, and Telia did the non-competitive team and she had a lot of fun. They also had like roadblocks and stuff, so the real vibe was there. I think that one of the things that plays in that is that June is like a very, very, very busy month in the day-to-day life. It is in Belgium the month in which there are exams. It's like the end of school year. There is a lot of parents school reunions. There are like school festivals. There are dance recitals, but I also have 3 kids born in summer, 1 in June, and so we do the birthday party of all of them in June, which is also taking time and planning and stuff. So I think that it is, and the pressure and the many things to do, that are not a good combination for me. But I can assure you, I have already picked out a readathon for next year in June. It is one that I've been eyeing also for a while, and that's the one with the tarot. I will need to look up more. If you participated maybe and you have like the channel who does that, please let me know in the comments as well, because I do like tarot. And in the very start of this channel, I think it must have been May 2025, I participated in a tarot readathon which was organized by a French YouTube channel. I will try to link something about that in the corner. And I really liked like picking the cards and looking for a book with it. But this readathon is not longer organized. She switched teams, so yeah, I might be looking forward to do another tarot related readathon next year. So hang around to this channel if you want to see that. I will stop talking now and I will go into the setting up of the actual spread and going through the stats, and after that we will do a little filling of my yearly challenges, which is not that much as well. And as always, at the end of this video we will have an overview of the vlogs with a little link to each one of them, and on that screen you will have each book that is talked about in that vlog, so that if there is a book that interests you, you can go just to that video. You don't have to look for where it is hidden, and in every one of my description boxes you have a list of the books mentioned and chapters, so that you can navigate easily through a video and find the review that you are looking for. I picked up 13 books in June and not 11 like I said before. There were 2 books that I started in May, and I DNF'd none of the books, but I also handed out 0 5-stars. 4 of these books were ebooks and 6 of these books were physical, and they were good for 3,174 pages. I listened to 3 audiobooks, and those were good for 42 hours and 75 minutes. I also carry over 2 books that I started in June to July. In all of these books, 6 came from the library, 4 were Audible included, 1 was Audible included, and 2 were bought on Audible. 1 was a novella and all the others were novels. I read, as always, a majority of fantasy, but I also read 3 sci-fi books, which is quite a lot for me. 5 of the books I read were somehow part of a series. I started 2, but that's a double up with May, because one of those I started in May, and there is one that I will not continue the series. I read 2 sequels, and I finished 1 series, but that would be London Calling, and that book I am still listening to. Making the voiceover, I noticed that I forgot to adapt one of my path charts, and that's the one about the languages I read in. So here are the correct stats. I read 2 books in English and 3 books that are originally written in French, but from whom there are 2 that are translated to English this time. And the remaining 8 I read in French, but were translations, in this case all from English. Let's switch to my first reading journal for the year to fill out my spreads for my yearly challenges. There will not be much of them this year. Nothing for Aurelium. I didn't finish any reads for the Connection Challenge. I did finish a Robin Hobb book that is the one that I plan to read in May, and I will still need to catch up with the next one. I have also decided to pause it for a little bit and to start the last, well, what's in English a trilogy, a bit later on this year. I did read another book for my 12 to finally read, none for my bingo. And of course, I participated in a yearlong. I read Sea of Rust. For that, there's a whole vlog, I will link it down below, of my husband and I listening to this audiobook on our way to Paris. I saw this book on YouTube and it did hit all the prompts. So I have gained a golden medal again in June. Not much to do for my series tracker. I can add in one sequel read. The two series that I started, one is already there, the other one I'm not continuing, so I'm not adding it in. And if one I finished, well, I finished it in July, so I will do that then. Here you have a little overview of which books I review in which vlogs. You will find a link to each one of them in the little corner and in the description box down below. If you want to see what I will be reading in June, don't be afraid to subscribe to this channel and maybe even turn on notifications so that you will not miss any of my videos. And of course, if you enjoyed this wrap-up, you could like this video so that other people will be able to discover this video as well. I hope that you will have a great reading month in July. See you soon!